Joining me right now is Texas Congressman, House Foreign Affairs and Homeland Security Committee member August Pfluger. Congressman, so we heard from the climate envoy, and then we heard from the energy secretary, and they both said that pipelines are the best way to go to transport oil and gas, and yet Joe Biden, the president, cancels the XL pipeline. Explain this.
Well, I don't know that there's any explanation for it. What a contradiction. You know, we've been talking about energy security being national security, and there you hear the envoy, former Secretary of State, Kerry, talking about China and the dependency that we have on them for renewables. I mean, he said 70+% of our solar panels are produced there. Most of the rare earth minerals are there, and yet we can't get them to acknowledge how devastating it can be when we see what has happened to the Colonial Pipeline and how that has impacted millions of people on the East Coast. Energy security is national security.
So once again, we have a potential crisis in the making, all as a result of policy. I'm increasingly feeling like all of this overturn of policy that we saw from the Biden administration in the first 2 weeks of their administration is all because they want to overturn things that Trump put in place because they don't like Trump, and not for the actual reasons of what will benefit the American people. I mean, we've got a mea culpa on the border wall. The administration is now saying that it will resume construction on portions of the southern border wall levee in the Rio Grande Valley. This is reportedly coming after pressure from local residents amid the surge in migrant crossings. We know that the latest data has 178,000 migrants apprehended at the border last month in April. That's a 21-year high. So, Congressman, what do you make of this move now to resume construction of the border wall after that was his first executive order, stop all construction of the border wall?
Well, Maria, you're exactly right. They're taking the policies that they reversed because they just had this visceral hatred for what the administration did. But now they realize, oh, those were good policies. They actually worked. They were securing our country. And, you know, look, I mean, we've been asking the president and the vice president to come to the southern border to see firsthand, to talk to the Border Patrol agents like I have done and like so many of my colleagues have done, because we care about what they're going through and the resources they need. So, you know, it's no surprise that they're looking at this and finally admitting, without admitting it, you know, that they need to resume construction of the border wall.
Yeah, I mean, look, it certainly feels like it's the Obama administration all over again. And many of the people in Biden's cabinet have worked for President Obama. President Biden is now reportedly tapping former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel as the role of U.S. ambassador to Japan. The position is set to be officially announced later this month. How would Rahm Emanuel be as an ambassador to Japan, Congressman? Your reaction?
Well, I want to know what the former mayor knows about foreign policy, and has he spent time in Japan or in the Pacific? And, you know, I spent 3 years there as a military officer, and what a tremendous opportunity to learn. But 3 years is not even enough to be the ambassador there and to understand what we need in diplomacy to secure our country, our allies around the world. What are his qualifications? Why is he the right person for this job? What is he going to do to further our economic prosperity and the defense of our nation, not to mention our allies?
Yeah, look, I'm reading a Cornerstone macro note this morning from Nancy Lazar, and I love this report. Nancy does such a great job on China, and here's the title of it: Beijing's heavy hand pressuring U.S. multinationals, not just Chinese companies. This is a point that I've been making. As American companies get ready to set up shop in China, you better understand who the boss is. It's Xi Jinping, not your board of directors. Here's what we've got Nancy writing. China's central bank is attempting to take control of Ant Group's vast trove of consumer lending data, marking the latest front in Beijing's crackdown on Jack Ma's financial technology group. Indeed, the volume of Chinese captured data, already huge, is expected to explode by 2025. Beijing's heavy hand reaching for that data is emblematic of its technology innovation squashing policy drift, a particularly headwind for large cap stocks. She goes on to say that the Vanguard Group staff dialed into a video call, and what the Vanguard Group staff said was that the $7 trillion money manager was abandoning its push for a mutual fund license. Are American companies figuring it out that it's not just about the 1.4 billion person population in China? You are working with communists who are against America?
Well, this was the questioning, the line of questioning for Secretary Kerry yesterday. And it really comes down to one thing, and it's lack of accountability for the Chinese Communist Party, who is oppressing Uyghurs, as we know, and committing genocide, who is stealing intellectual property and intellectual capital through these companies, as you just mentioned. And so that's what we want to highlight to the administration and to the American public, that what is our country and our government and the Biden administration going to do to hold them accountable?
Yeah. We still don't know, Congressman. We don't know any clarity on any U.S.-China policy. So we'll have to keep raising the issue. Congressman, good to see you this morning. Thank you.